Ahoy, and welcome to another exciting pirate news. This is your fun and wonderful quartermaster of Massachusetts chapter, bringing here to you the one and only, the Malt, the Steve, and the Jamie. Gentlemen, how you doing this evening?
Passable.
All
My
right.
mustache is at maximum strength.
Good, because we're going to need it, because we're going to talk about something absolutely awful, like always. I mean, another yay, why, the Roe versus Wade debacle. It's pretty clear where we stand on it, but just because we support individual autonomy, we support you choosing for yourself how it's going to be important for you to choose your own life, your own path. So obviously, we support Roe versus Wade staying in place and not being messed with. But, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on it?
It's the conservatives want this because they want to control women, and you see it like they admitted it. There was a man in a firefighter department of New York City sweatshirt standing on the front of a church saying, "You have no choice. Your body is mine." Like, this is about ownership. And the promise made to young, angry men is, if you support the old, angry men, you will get control and power and authority. And that's a lie. You, like these young conservatives, spineless lampreys, barnacles, bottom feeders, sucking on the detritus of a society ruled by violence. So, like, yeah, they will get to intimidate future girlfriends who can't get abortions. Good for fucking them. It's just also fucking pointless and venal and driven by greed. Justice Alito used the phrase domestic supply of infants, which fuck him, and fuck that phrase, and fuck him for making me say that fucking phrase, you ghoul. Like, you absolute Skeletor lich ass skeleton motherfucker. No dick left to kick off.
How do you really feel, Malt?
Don't hold back.
It's just Worcester lost someone great recently who used to hold punk shows as a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood. So the timing on this is especially awful. And, like, it's not going to stop at abortion. The number one thing we have to make absolutely clear is, like, even if you don't have a uterus, this will impact you. What conservatives have done is, ever since the civil rights movement, and by the civil rights movement, I mean the Civil War, they have sought to concentrate power in unelected positions, judges, law enforcement, religious figures, in order to maintain a deeply unpopular monopoly on power. So what's going to happen next is they're going to go after the judicial decisions that gave us the right to civil unions, gay marriage, interracial marriage, cohabitation, the ability to have gay sex, like the ability to put a wiener in a butthole, even if it's a lady's butthole. Sodomy is technically illegal in Texas. And sodomy is everything that's not penis and vaginas. So, fuckle the buck up, kids.
Yeah, I mean,
please.
First, I also support a woman's right to have an abortion. That is her decision, and there's not. It's not just one or two things that go into it. She should have the right to, have a say in her future. and have a say over her body. One of the things I'm a little concerned about is, so okay, we know that when this final decision is handed down, and assuming it's not that far off from the draft, there are probably about half the states that either have trigger laws or on the books, or will quickly move to ban abortions.
I believe it is 21 states have trigger laws in effect now, and I think 3 more are attempting to pass trigger legislation.
So one of the things I'm sort of wondering about is, there, on a federal level, we've kind of relied on the Roe decision for the last, 40, almost 50 years. There's not any federal legislation that, that gives a woman that right. So what I'm wondering is, do we have now that, it's when the Supreme Court eventually says that no, abortion is not a guaranteed right, is this something that the federal government could just take away from everyone? So not yes. So that has me a little bit irked.
McConnell has actually said that when they get control of the House and the Senate, they will pass a bill, and they'll change the Senate rules so that they can just use a bare majority to go and pass a ban on abortion. Now, I would assume if Biden's in power as president, would go and veto that, and they probably wouldn't have enough to stop that, but to override his veto. But if there's a President Trump in 2025, all bets are off, right?
All bets are off, period. Like if the conservatives aren't going to abide judicial precedent, then all bets are off. Like what was the specific? Sorry, what's up?
No, sorry to interrupt, but they could really turn back any law that, or literally start picking apart all of our rights. They really could.
Yeah, I mean, our fundamental right, what we view as pirates as our fundamental right to privacy, could easily be thrown completely out by this court.
They really should say the Patriot Act is unconstitutional, but that's
the right to privacy is what they're going after, and it's been the project of the Federalist Society for the past fucking 70 years. Those fucking deathless cunts. To overturn the fundamental right to privacy. And it's going to work on the following lines. It's going to work internally on this IUD ban. Like that's going to basically abolish a person's right to have medical privacy. And the drug war is going to finish destroying your right to be private in your possessions. So you're going to have a class of police officer who is empowered to go up to you, take away your money, and inspect the womb of any womb-bearing individual in your car for contraband health care. Like, this is not an overstatement. This is what they're going to do. And this is what police were doing before they had smartphones and instant surveillance and facial recognition cameras. This is the perfect storm. This is the perfect storm of shit. And there are a lot of male-bodied individuals who do not realize that your ass is on the line too, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, and I won't name them, various gay pundits who are like, yeah, this is a good thing. We should send this back to the states to decide. And it's kind of like, you know what else we can send back to the states? Your right to get married, or your right to have a relationship with a man.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's amazing to me that these folks don't see what's going on, and probably they have an interest not looking there, but it's pretty obvious. This has been the MO of the right for a long, long time.
A number of senators have spoken out about the fact that 4 sitting Supreme Court justices lied in their confirmation hearings. Senators Gillibrand, Murkowski, and Collins have all issued statements about the justices saying that it was settled law. And like the interesting thing is that Collins and Murkowski are both Republicans. Now, Collins is a spineless windsock who will say or do whatever in order to get the press off her back.
Well, I'm glad she's willing to admit that she got chumped.
God, she's 100% chump.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
she's like a slab of chump deli meat. Maine deserves better.
Mm.
Like, yay, women in politics. She's not a good one. Like, you could have done better, guys.
Better than Sarah Palin.
Halen?
Yeah, that person.
Okay.
So
Yeah, the thing we didn't mention, of course, is they're going to go after contraception.
Yep.
I mean, like anything in the last 70 years is fair game by these folks. When you choose your line of argument that we can go back to someone who persecuted women for being witches back in the 1600s,
Oh my
we
God!
know where they're planning to go.
The fact that they quoted that person, the person who burned people at the stake for being witches, as the go-to guy. Oh,
But, yeah,
You can't have a church for more than 100 years without them burning someone.
so the contraception thing is also, it's interesting from not from just a family planning perspective, but from a like a disease prevention perspective. One of the things condoms do is, aside from preventing women from being pregnant, getting pregnant, they also can prevent STD transmission. So what do we? I sort of, in a way, I can. It sort of feels weird to have the very religious right advocating that everyone have unprotected sex. But, there's some, while it may sound fine, now it may sound fun, there are certainly drawbacks to this.
Well, but it shouldn't happen outside of marriage, I'm sure they would say.
Yeah. Like,
Like that's
Republicans,
gonna work.
Yeah.
it didn't
Never
work
worked
then.
throughout history. So.
No.
Republicans know that. They just want people to suffer. Like, the suffering is the point. The illness, the deaths, it's the point.
Yeah, I mean, even some of these state laws say if you have an ectopic pregnancy, that's where the embryo latches onto the fallopian tube, not within the uterus, then they have to remove that and implant it in the uterus. Otherwise, the doctor can go to jail. And we don't have technology for that. So basically what you're saying is, if a woman gets in that circumstance, she should just die or have a hysterectomy, I guess.
Yeah, the history of farm families in America is one of patriarchs who rule through terror and starvation. And one thing they would do is pick up very young women, like 12, 13-year-olds, and knock them up immediately and just cram them full of so many babies that they did not exist outside of their role as a mother and wife. And that is what Republican men want. Like, they want absolute control, and they will achieve this through like terror and killing.
They've gone from the party of family planning, remember those good old days, to the party of anti-family planning or family anti-planning. Anyway, it's either here or there.
Antifa? No, sorry.
No.
Bad joke.
Oh, bad joke. Can I bring up something a more pleasant topic?
Please.
All right. So I am a town meeting member in Arlington, Massachusetts. So this is our legislative session. And we passed something on Wednesday that I'm happy to see us pass it. It's only a resolution, which means it's not policy, but it is, basically calling a municipality official, the legislature of a municipality calling on the state legislature to do certain stuff, and for the local officials to act a certain way. But anyway, so this article, and we'll put a link to it in the chat, is a resolution on the prohibition of the use of facial surveillance. So basically, the resolution comes down to our town meeting asking the state legislature to limit the use of facial recognition search to felony cases and requiring a warrant based on probable cause, to ban the use of face recognition for surveillance, tracking, and emotion recognition, and further asking our state representatives to push for additional legislation that will address the non-law enforcement government use of this technology. And finally, to use this resolution to make the town's, expectation clear to our own elected government. And we expect that the only use of facial recognition technology, which will be that which is explicitly provided for in state law. So this passed by a wide margin. It is only a resolution, but I think it's, local resolutions like this are always a good way to just, hint to the legislature where people are coming from. So, I want to, give some kudos to the 10 registered voters who brought this forward, and also to Restore the Fourth, who provided some resources in the drafting. So nice work, guys.
Now, we were talking before about Restore the Fourth and the difference between the other fourth organization. I think it was Defend the Fourth.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore, I think. It's just Restore the Fourth. Also, warrantless.org.
And for good reason, too.
Let's not go there.
So, like, these kinds of small victories are they're eminently achievable, and they are just good to engage in, if for no other reason than to connect with other people in your area who also don't want to be spied on by a motherfucker's doorbell.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, this resolution does not address the motherfucker's doorbell. I am sad to say.
Whatever. Like, I'm just pissed that if we're going to live in a cyberpunk dystopia, everything still looks like shit.
Where are the jetpacks, man? The flying cars.
Like, I don't want the cops to have jetpacks.
I mean,
Like,
for us.
Yeah.
I believe you have to be over the water, and they just still use hydropower.
I've seen a couple of things where guys have been flying jetpacks like at the level of airplanes. Like, there have been enough pilots who have gone and, like, we looked out the window and there's a guy in a jetpack flying next to us.
Yeah,
not 30,000 feet, but like takeoff and landing or something.
Yeah, I've seen them bounce between ships and stuff, but they're still experimental at this point.
I wonder what the medical insurance code will be for sucked into a jet engine. Will be for sucked into a jet engine.
I volunteer as tribute.
Oh, actually, I'll bet there probably is a medical diagnostic hood for sucked into a jet engine.
So we might not have jetpacks yet. If you have a parachute and a giant fan strapped to your butt, you can fly through the air. It's called paramotor.
I feel like there's a joke about the Marines and getting sucked into a jet engine that could be made, but I don't know.
I believe it's called the
Send the
Marine.
Marines, which is now in the public domain. Thank you, Tom Lehrer.
I don't know. If you're really interested in flying, I mean, Cessnas seem like a perfectly usable kind of thing. For a while, I was going to, I had my heart set on getting a pilot's license. Unfortunately, unfortunately for that life goal, I ended up going to a startup company, which actually turned out to be a good move, but it means I don't have a pilot's license and never pursued it. But
You're still.
I have other hobbies.
We need the jet ski version of the Cessna, and that's what this jet backpack shit is. Anyway, so PayPal sucks ass.
As always.
They have cut off a number of left-wing news media organizations. Consortium News, which was founded in 1995, and Mint Press News, which is based in Minnesota. So let's not hold that against them. So the other issue is that PayPal also canceled the personal account of one of the writers of Mint News, Alan McLeod. There's some speculation in this one article I read, waiting for us to start, that it's connected to comments these organizations have made about criticizing the Iraq war. Ukraine war. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they started this back with WikiLeaks a long time ago, and it pops up periodically. They have their terms and conditions, and they're a large corporation, and they don't really need to give you an answer as to why. Which is why we need many more different payment methods that aren't beholden to a set of companies. It's in their right to knock people off, but the problem is, if there's only a handful and those handful get together and they block everyone off they don't like, then
so
that's the problem.
On a related note, there's now that we can have recreational marijuana establishments. I've got one going down at the end of my street, by the way. One of the things I understand with these businesses is that, they have a difficult time accessing banking services. So it's like all cash kind of stuff. And I'm, it seems like there is at least an opening for sort of a new niche kind of business. But who knows?
I mean, the Democrats control both houses of Congress and the presidency. Why haven't they gone and legalized cannabis? Why haven't they gone and wiped all the records of anyone whose only crime was selling cannabis? Why haven't they made it legal? I mean, even Biden could be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to do an executive order that says you can do banking services. They still haven't done that.
I mean, Obama promised to sign abortion into law on his first day, and then he sat on it for 8 years. They don't care. They don't want to help. They just want to fundraise off of our suffering.
It's certainly hard not to conclude anything otherwise.
I don't know. maybe is it possible? Maybe they're just not that good at their jobs. I don't know.
For how long can they be not good at their jobs before it becomes intentional?
Well, in Massachusetts, well, this isn't specific to Congress, but in Massachusetts, it basically comes down to who's willing to run against them, and I don't know what the primary rate is for for Democratic House and Senate seats, but in Massachusetts, if you're a Democratic office holder at the state level, chances are no one's going to run against you.
It's about 60% to 2/3 of legislators in the Massachusetts House and Senate, on average, have no opponent in the general election.
Yeah, and I mean, even in a town, so like for us, we had our elections this past April. The select board race, uncontested. The school committee race, uncontested. Auditors race, no, not auditors, assessors races, board of assessors, yeah, no contested. The only race where there was a contest was the town moderators race, and it turned out that there was an upset victory there. Which means we have a new moderator. But even the town meeting members, like we still have vacancies. We have seats in our local legislature that are not filled. So, this is, I think, unfortunately, I think politics in this country has had the effect of just alienating a lot of people. Like on the federal level, it's like, fuck it. I just don't care anymore. It's not worth the anguish. At least for me, I can focus on local stuff and feel like I'm having an influence. But federal policy, yeah, I feel like I'm completely detached from the process. And even state, I have a good state rep. I have a good state rep. He's responsive, but I just feel like I don't understand the Massachusetts state legislature or how it works well enough to really follow what's going on. But anyway, that is my grumble for the evening.
And it's an important one. So if you want to run for office for U.S. House of Representatives, you have until the end of July to get all of your nomination signatures in. That's 2,000 signatures you need to gather between now and then. Contact us at info@masspirates.org and we'll help you with that. Contact us at the same thing and we'll help you with running for local office. If your city or if your town has elections, as Steve said, Arlington has openings, so you could go and just take those. You just need to get appointed, right, Steve?
I think so. Yeah.
And then the city elections next year.
We have a lot of MPs enrolled too, and it's a lot less signatures for the local and state, right? Typically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, state rep is 150 signatures. State senate is 300. Unfortunately, those deadlines are passed because the legislature doesn't want competition. So even though we don't have a primary, we as a political designation have the same deadlines that that the two major parties have. Well, actually, the really major party and the just kind of barely major party. But we'll leave that. I mean, that's a problem in and of itself, right? The Democrats are so conservative. There are quote unquote progressives, but Republicans are just like, yeah, I'm just gonna these people over here. I mean, the Republicans move into the Democratic Party because the rest of them are crazy, I guess.
You've given me a sort of a curiosity now. I mean, the Republican Party in Massachusetts is there's not much to it. I'm kind of wondering how they stack up against the Libertarians, who I believe got party status a while ago. I'm sort of wondering if I think it would be funny if if one of the major parties became had third party status in Massachusetts, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna look this up. Hold on.
Well, if I recall correctly, the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts used to be at lpma.org, and that doesn't exist anymore. That's for sale. So either I got it wrong, or they don't, or they don't exist. They used to be active, back in 2002, 2006, but they haven't really been active. I think the activists just decided to drop out and no one replaced them.
Libertarians have been getting ripped apart by themselves.
Well, that's not a change from the status quo at all. Jeez.
But that being said, thank you for, while we wait for Steve, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. We'll constantly keep on doing this so long as we keep on getting views, so we appreciate you out there. And definitely like and share and subscribe. I will keep on trying to move forward and make sure that everything we're doing is the right thing. We definitely write to your congressman saying that you support Roe versus Wade and that we do not want to lose any of our rights. We have fought so hard and so long, we shouldn't have been peeled back one by one. So definitely show your support by subscribing at Pirate and sign up for the newsletter, sign up for everything, and annoy your legislators. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in tonight. We appreciate you deeply.
Thanks, folks. Take care.
Be well.
Okay.